afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Council Cabinet meeting on Wednesday, the 5th of August 2020. Can I ask, Emily, could you just make sure all present are correct and identify those present, please?
Yes, of course, Councillor Poulter. So at the meeting today, we have the following members of the Council Cabinet. The Leader of the Council, Councillor Poulter, and Councillors Holmes, Williams, Wood, Webb, Smale and Wilson. We're also joined by Councillors Shanker, Skelton and A.W. Grays, and Councillor Repton as Chair of the Exec Scrutiny Board. We also have various presenting officers present who will introduce themselves as and when they are required to address the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Apologies then. I have apologies from Councillor Barker, who's still on holiday. Lindsay, any other apologies to note, please?
Andy Smith and Simon Riley send their apologies.
Thank you. Item 2 then is any late items, of which I don't believe there are any.
No, there are none.
Receipts of petitions, again, I don't believe there are any.
None.
Identification of urgent items at item 4, to which call-in will not apply. There are none, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay, so then we have declarations of interest, please, from Cabinet members or attendees. I'll take the silence to be none in that case. Item 6 is the minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of July 2020. I've read them, they seem okay to me. Can they be agreed, Cabinet?
Move them. Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 7 then, as is becoming customary, recommendations from Executive Scrutiny Board. We'll deal with each recommendation on each relevant item as we come to it, if that's okay. And that leads us straight into then item 8, and overnight short breaks respite for adults. Who's presenting this, please?
I'm presenting this, Chair. It's Gamal Nizar, Director for Commissioning, covering for Andy Smith. Thank you. If I pull out the main items of the report, this report seeks approval to commence procurement in respect of services for adults and young people aged 16 plus. The procurement will take the form of a dynamic purchasing system, which is a tool that has the flexibility to allow providers onto the list during the duration of this framework, and it helps the council build and shape the market and allows service providers to join up to pre-agreed terms and condition. And this also helps providers and customers being able to access services from this framework with contracts and compliance and quality being in place, Chair. The report sets out the next steps in terms of taking forward the process to establish this framework and dynamic purchasing system for overnight short breaks and respite for adults. And Chair, the recommendations are outlined in 2.1 and 2.2. 2.1 to approve the procurement of a short breaks respite framework using a tool known as the dynamic purchasing system. And recommendation 2.2 to delegate authority to the Strategic Director of People Services to preview entering into contracts at the conclusion of the procurement with the service providers successful in their applications to join the DPS, which will be a 10-year arrangement. That's the report, Chair. Happy to take any general questions.
Thank you, Gamal. Can we address the recommendation from Executive Scrutiny last night? I note we have Councillor Repton present. Did you want to present the recommendation, Councillor Repton? Are you there, Councillor Repton?
Yes, I'm Chair. I'll just go through the quick recommendation. The Executive Scrutiny Board resolved to recommend to Council Cabinet that the tender paperwork includes an acknowledgement of the balance between choice on behalf of the service user and risk being shared between the provider and any casual employees.
Did you want to add anything to that, the rationale behind that, Martin?
No, I think board members felt that that was more open and transparent, and has addressed some of the concerns that there were. So I think that's it, Chair.
Okay, so Gamal, did you have any response to any thoughts on that? Are we okay with that?
Chair, just to confirm, that's fine. That can be factored into the procurement process taking it forward.
In that case, I'll come to Cabinet Member. Roy, do you have any further observations or comments?
No, just to say that this is a system that we've been using for some time, piloted by Children's Services, and it works well in that service. Transferring it to adults is going to add choice, as you're aware, Leader, that direct payments is one of the ways in which we provide this service, but for under 18s, then that is not available as an option. So this takes choice and gives it to service users, and the procurement process for this service, as it says on the tin, is dynamic, so that operators of services that join up to this dynamic purchasing service offer a wider choice for the person concerned, and gives the council flexibility in offering a wider choice of service to those service users. So I would endorse recommendation 2.1 and 2.2.
Thank you, Roy. Councillor Skelton, you've indicated.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say I think this is a very sensible move. Often, obviously, people have their personal budgets, but the question can often be, so what is there out there for me to spend it on? And I think that the council actually, in taking this step and developing the market, is a good thing as well. And it's also, it gives protection and reassurance to people that we've done some due diligence on these providers, so it gives them that comfort as well.
Thank you. Then in case, unless there are any other comments or questions, then I think we're able, Cabinet, to accept the recommendation from exec scrutiny and to agree recommendations 1.1 and 1.2. Are we agreed?
Try 2.1 and 2.2.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay, in that case, then we can move on to item 9, the appointment of academy sponsor for new primary school at Castlewood. Who's this, please?
Thank you, Chair. It's Gamal. I'll pick this one up as well, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. So there are two reports on the agenda. This report being the public version, and there's also an exempt report, Chair, on the agenda, as you know. So the background to this report is it's linked to the proposed new primary school in the Castlewood area. And the requirement is, when creating a new school, for the council to appoint a multi-academy trust sponsor to run the school, and this report sets out that that process has been completed, bids were received, and they have been evaluated in line with Department for Education guidance. And 1.6 outlines that the DFE asks that the preferred sponsors are not made public until the Secretary of State has taken the final decision to appoint a sponsor. And therefore this report does not name the recommended sponsor by the council. So that evaluation process has been completed, and recommendation 2.1 outlined to approve the council's preferred sponsor for Castlewood Primary School for recommendation to the Secretary of State. And Chair, I'll pick up the second report under the exempt items with more details. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Gamal. If we can deal with the executive scrutiny's consideration of this last night, I see that they've resolved to note the report, so that's fine. Do we have any questions or comments in relation to the main report?
Chair, just to say that I'm happy that the process has been followed correctly and in accordance with DfE guidance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Councillor Skelton, was that a previous one, or did you wish to comment on this?
That was a previous one. Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, then, we can, Cabinet, I believe, deal with this by way of acceptance of recommendation 2.1. Can we be agreed?
Agreed.
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 Thank you. And then after that, then we need to move on to the exempt items, and I have a statement to read out, which I need to find again. Lindsay, can you help me with that? Do you have it there to put up at all?
I can share it for you from the recommendations from exit scrutiny. Just bear with me 1 second.
I had it and then disappeared on me.
Here we go. Should be coming on screen now. So it's reading there, section 100A.
Okay, thank you. So the recommendation is that the board resolve that under section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972, the press and the public be excluded from the meeting during the discussion of the following item on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of part 1 of schedule 12A of the Act, and that the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information. So that being so read, are we able to confirm, Emily, that we are alone in this meeting now?
Alex, you're able to confirm that we're no longer live?